Hi all, thanks for your support on the previous video of unboxing Integra DRX 5.4. Here I am going to walk you through the various steps and functions that are available in Integra DRX 5.4, which is the 2021 model. Since I have done the initial setup, I'll walk you to the configuration that I have set up on my AV receiver. Even though I have completed the configuration, I'll still let you know where you can start from the initial setup and walk you through that menu item. Okay, let's start with the initial setup. First, in the screen you will have the input output as a assignment. I've had the HDMI out main output. You can see that you have the Dolby Vision and upscaling, and you have the HDMI 4K and 8K signal on whichever output you are trying to have. You can set it up. So you can also configure each input with whether it is 4K or 8K options that you would like to have. And next, you have this HDMI input. One good thing I like about Yamaha is it will automatically identify the player like Apple player and give it as the name on the HDMI input, whereas here you have the options as a predefined options. The video input and digital audio input and analog audio input, I'm not going to go in detail. Okay, next let us get into the speaker configuration. Here when you open up the speaker configuration, you have predefined channels. In my case, I have the 5.1.2 channel setup, which is surround and Dolby Atmos with 2 channels in front. You can, since it is preloaded with multiple configuration, it gives you a visual representation as well as you select the number of channels you have for your system. So, and also it gives you the option if you see the height speaker, whether it is front or it is in the high channel, that is also an option that you have. And you select the subwoofer, like number of subwoofers you have in the other option. So here I'm just going to skip the zone speakers. I have single zone, so I'm not using it. And also the speaker impedance, it supports 6 ohms and above, or you can select whether if it is 4 ohms as well. In my case, Klipsch are 8 ohms, so I'm going to leave it as 6 ohms or above. And here my apologies on the video, earlier I did not show the other channels. Here is the other channels that 5.1.2. you can see that how the speaker layout is. So you get to see the channels where it is. And let us go to the crossover. In my case, though I have an Klipsch reference premium speaker in the front, which is 8000, which is a full form, but still I'm using the small speaker setup so that I can have the crossover. If you see, if I say it as full band, it skips the crossover functionality. So I'm going back to my small speaker range and I am setting it up as a THX recommended 80 Hz as the crossover functionality, but you can see that it goes up to 200 in the variance of 10. I've done the same setup for all the speakers that I have, since I want my subwoofer to take over all the best sounds. Okay, I've also done the Dirac live configuration. The reason I'm not showing over here is the time taken for Dirac live configuration alone is close to 1 hour 30 minutes. So that calibrates the distance as well as the level. So I'm skipping those, but you can see how it has been done when the calibration is done. And if you have Dolby enabled speaker, that is which is and this is the Dolby Atmos speaker, which is defining how far it is from the ceiling. And in my case, I've selected as 6 feet from the ceiling. And next is, you see the THX audio and equalizer setting. Let's go to the THX. If you have THX certified speakers or subwoofer, those are going to be set up here. In my case, Klipsch is not THX certified, but the receiver is. Then if you have the speaker virtualizer, is basically if you don't have the Atmos enabled speaker, you can leverage this functionality. Recently, Integra and Klipsch had a deal, and I believe right now they are in one single parent company. So in this particular AV receiver, if you see that there is a speaker combo, they are preloaded with certain speakers from Klipsch. Unfortunately, they do not have all the lineup. You can see that they have their base model, their reference series. Since mine is all reference premier, I do not have any of those listed in this particular category. But if you have any of those speakers given, you can identify those and select it, so it will optimize further for that particular. And audio adjust, you have the ability to go ahead and finalize, like when it is a mono signal, which one do you want to which speakers and where do you want to have the connections wired. The Dolby, the loudness management is enabled. The DTS and IMAX are based on the content. So if you have DTS surround sound as well as IMAX mode on, so that means if there is a content with the IMAX Enhanced, it will automatically identify that setting and then pick it up with those sound formats. And in my case, I'm going to just leave it the DTS auto surround on as well as the IMAX mode in the auto. So whenever I get a disc with IMAX Enhanced, so I can have that. And then next is LFE level. Kept it as 0 dB because it is the I have left it out to Dirac Live to have the configuration and calibration. Next, you can have a volume display, like whether it is absolute or relative numbers on the gigahertz. So in my case, I have left it as absolute. And you can also have a minimum volume, maximum volume, and all those set up, like if you are in a restricted area. Next, you can go to the source and have the input renamed. This functionality is much flexible from your iPhone app, which I'm going to show you down the line. So I'll skip it from here. In fact, if you are comfortable on using the remote, you can edit here, but I prefer to do it from the iPhone app. The next one is listening mode preset at the each input level. So whenever you are watching or using a specific device and input, you can default certain setups. So primarily I use the Blu-ray and DVD with Apple Player, and everything it's 4K connected, so I've left it with the same configuration across the board. In my case, if it is PCM, what does it have to convert? So I've used DTS Neural X THS Cinema, which you will get with a 5.1 sound system. The hardware, you can get into the HDMI mode and select the eARC supported to be on if you are connecting into a television and you want the audio from the TV to come back to receiver. In my case, I'm using a projector, but I've still turned it on. And the auto lip sync function is also available, so you can have it as on. Based on the content, it will automatically sync in. That's all you have here. Network, you can have a Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable that is available. So you can initiate the device to set up from the network. Skipping that, Bluetooth, you can enable Bluetooth um, and also transmit audio to the receiver using Bluetooth. This does not require for the apps to be controlled. This receiver is also capable of connecting to Sonos network speaker, like with the port, and you'll be able to connect it. And here you can select which input you want to connect and which zone it is. I do not have a Sonos speaker, so I'm not enabling it. Next, let us talk about the multi-zone. I'm skipping because I'm not setting up anything and I do not have this multi-zone setup. So let's go for the miscellaneous, where you have the capability of configuring tuner, remote ID, able to update the firmware through the USB or LAN, and then here is where you start the initial setup. And again, as I mentioned, I am not showing up the initial setup. The main reason is it takes close to 1 hour for just for the direct live configuration. And apart from that, you need it's better to have a camera stand with the solid base so that you can configure your um, direct live calibration, because even if it is a small movement with the your base movement, it will automatically start over and exit the setup. I will also show the mobile device configuration, how it is done, and we can walk you through that setup as well.